My exhibit is called Paper Scraps and Scribbles. It's an exhibit that's a mix of paintings, drawings, etchings, and collages. All the pieces are about basic building blocks of art: line, shape, texture, value, etc. This is what holds them all together visually. And the different media that I use makes them all look very different and give them all their personal look. I usually don't exhibit one type of material. To me, I cannot do everything with just painting or just drawing. I have to work in different media. It's much more comfortable for me that way. To me, my own work, I think is funny. I think it's humorous work. I think it's work that really challenges the viewer to look at life differently. I'm taking things that you might not give a second look, like textures on rocks, cracks in the concrete, just different objects you might see on the street. And I try to pick up on those things. I use them literally in the work sometimes by scanning them in the computer, and sometimes just by drawing from them, that I put them into my work and interpret them and give them a new life. My collages are a mix of objects that I pick up. I collect various things, and I scan them into a computer, and I manipulate them. I draw on them on the computer, and I print them out and cut them up into pieces and basically glue them together like a collage, like a standard traditional collage. Then I scan them back into a computer and manipulate them on the computer, do drawing on them, and print them out on cotton printmaking paper I run through my laser printer. And then I hand paint them with inks. So they go through several processes through the computer, but they also have a hands-on portion to them also. My paintings, some of them have actually collages glued under them. I like to start artwork with something I can react to, so I don't just have a blank canvas or a blank piece of paper or something like that. So I take old collages and I glue them to wood, and I paint on top of them and continue to do many layers of them. And so I have something that's a combination of the old piece with the new piece, and it's a way of recycling artwork also. My drawings are large sketches, I would call them. I do keep a sketchbook, just jotting down ideas constantly. And I blow some of them up by hand, basically drawing them larger and manipulate them. And sometimes they turn into ideas for paintings. Sometimes also they might develop into compositions that I reproduce as collages. Even then I have two separate pieces out of one idea. I have a couple of etchings in the show, rather small etchings that are sort of an offshoot of my drawings. That they're pieces that I draw on metal. I etch, which puts lines and textures into the metal that I print. That type of printmaking, it's called intaglio printmaking, is a way of combining drawing with very shallow sculpture in a way. It's because you are printing grooves and textures and things like that. Working with students over the last 14 or 15 years, I found that I really had to stand back and look at what I'm doing, and if I'm truly expressing myself through my work, or am I just going through the motions? And this is something that students discover as they work through courses and work with different media, because you can learn how to paint, how to draw, how to do sculpture, that sort of thing. But students learn to develop their own vision. You know, what is it that strings all these courses together? When I teach, I'm teaching basic building blocks of art. I teach foundation courses, like two-dimensional design, color theory, primarily there's two types of courses. And when I'm teaching those classes, I have to teach students about the basic elements of art, like value, shape, color, texture, etc. And students ask lots of interesting questions. Not only about the materials they're using, but about thinking and how I think and why are we doing what we're doing, that sort of thing. And those questions actually are something that I take with me out of the classroom, and I take them home to my own studio. And I do think about those things while I'm making my own art. This department, I feel, is very good at taking students from all different kinds of backgrounds and different experiences. And students that have very different expectations, what they want out of their art courses, and servicing all of them. I think here in this art department, Something we do is we really work on critical thinking with students, because many of our students are not art majors, and they're taking the courses to qualify for arts credits for a number of degrees. This is our chance to get them to understand art, to make art, to appreciate art, and to get them to tap into their own creativity. Here we got a different eye movement, something going upward at an angle, and it's very linear here, very linear here. You could think about, well, how could you interpret that? I think this department also, being such a large department, we give students so many choices because we teach many different kinds of material, the painting, the printmaking, the drawing, the sculpture, etc. And so many times students who take a class with us, even though they hadn't planned on it, end up staying for many semesters and take lots of courses just because they find they're not really finished with their artistic creativity. I like to think my art is making something new, and sometimes I feel like I'm even making visible the invisible, trying to take the way I think and put it out there for other people to see. It's visual entertainment for me.